Good evening. Welcome to another session of the Sea of Glass. Tonight, we're still in the book of Jeremiah, and the reason for that is I really want to talk about Egypt in the understanding of the great power that people receive from false religion. You see, you got to understand that the human race had to go to false religion because you have to learn from wrong to right. God could not make the holy religion right away. He had to wait all these thousands and thousands of years before he can give you the satisfaction and the understanding of his great kingdom, the new heart. He could not make the new heart from the very beginning because it has to be built stone on stone until it comes to the day of the Lord. And this is the day of the Lord where you have to come to understand the great power of this great glory of intelligence that we have. Go ahead, read, Rita.
Okay, for those following at home, we're in the book of Jeremiah, chapter 46, a message about Egypt. This is the word of the Lord that came to Jeremiah the prophet concerning the nations, concerning Egypt. This is the message against the army of Pharaoh Necho, king of Egypt, which was defeated at Carchemish on the Euphrates River by Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, in the 4th year of Joachim, son of Josiah, king of Judah.
You got to come to understand now. You have to come to understand that the word of the Lord would change at this point. You see, what happened to the world in the understanding of these 6,000 years is that man had to grow from the spirit that the Lord placed inside of them at one time. You know, so you got to understand that the power here is to be able to understand the glory of intelligence at the end of this here. God could not say, well, I'm going to give my spirit to, mankind, and he's going to be able to understand it. He had to process the time. Everything has to be done in process of time in order to get to this day so he can reveal to us his understanding of the scriptures. The scriptures must become in the knowledge of a human being, just like you read any other book, so you can come to understand the Lord your God with all your soul. You got to understand that God is the truth. And the truth has a son named common sense. And that's all part of the understanding of God. So now you got to come to the understanding that your common sense is the way your feelings hurt and your feeling works inside of you. And then you have to come to reality. They have to be matched to the truth, to common sense and reality in order to be the truth. And this is where you have to come to understand that what was taught by false religion, what was taught by the falsehood of the world, was taught because the people did not understand it. In other words, I'll let you read some more. I want to talk to you about something else on that.
Okay, this is the message, or the beginning of the message to those 3 kings. Okay, prepare your shields, both large and small, and march out for battle. Harness the horses, mount the steeds. Take your positions with helmets on. Polish your spears, put on your armor.
You got to come to understand here that this is not a war of the flesh here. This is a war of spirit. Your shield is the understanding that you have. You have to polish yourself Judas is the word speaking power here. He's the dialogue maker. So you got to polish your spear, polish your tongue. The spear is inside the mouth. How you talk to other people, how you come to understand the great power of the intelligence that you were created with. How are you going to be able to do that? So God said, you have to polish yourself. You have to learn. You have to learn from the beginning. You have to learn everything that happened before now so you can come and to the day of the Lord and you're going to be able to understand. You see what happened in the world now. You see, all the smart people are the one that gets educated. And all the dumb people, there's 3 types the people. And I want to use the example that Jesus used there about the understanding of the one that had 10 talents, the one that had 5 talents, and the one that was only given 1 talent. The 10 talents are the people that educate themselves, and they try to learn everything they can learn, and they have a better life for their purpose. The next one is the people that process the intelligence, like the factory. You got to have the worker to produce what the intelligent people has put together, and that makes it, the people. They're not as smart as the people that, the architect and the genius that invent all the things. But the thing is, they're the one that train themselves to operate the understanding of what comes from the wise people. And then you have the dumb people, the one that was getting 1 talent. Those are the critic. Those are the critic, everything in the world that everybody tries to do, and they always have some kind of a notion that makes no sense, and they throw it in front to ridiculous the power of the truth. The power of the truth is inside of us, but it has to be given to us in the reason that all things that are created from intelligence has to be to the process of the smart, intelligent people that God gives the wisdom to. You see, if you're an engineer, you design the piece. You wouldn't design the understanding. If you're going to make an aeroplane, you're going to have to get smart people that designed it before you can put it in process and factory, before you can have an airplane. That's the way it works. Well, you see, then the poor people that does the floor and clean the toilet are the people that don't really understand. And then you have the process of the genius and the process of those, the good machinist that goes work, and he tries to learn as much as he can so he can be a good machinist. You see, everything is a process of time is what God has made. The same thing with everything that we read in the scriptures. To come to take this power that we have inside of ourselves and to shield it and to make it feel good so you can come to understand what was written there. This is the greatest power of human understanding that you can ever come, is to understand the scriptures. It takes, and believe me, the people with the 1 talent, they gave up their talent. They just put it in the earth and leave it there. They go to church on Sunday, listen to people that are as dumb as they are, and they never learn nothing because they ridiculous everything that the smart people do. And that's why you never had a good understanding of somebody that's so dumb that he has to go to a church on Sunday, pray in the caves, so the wisdom of the Lord falls on him. You see, you got to come to understand that these people are not meant to be part of the kingdom of intelligence. What the Lord has made, He made you intelligent, and you have to go to the great power of the talent that you receive, and you have to bring it to the highest power of all in sin. Because, see, you got to understand that God is the truth, and the Son is common sense, and the great power of the angel of reality is there. So you have to use reality, common sense, and the truth, and put them all together in one great power to call God, God. You see, I was listening to a false Christian prophet, and he said that God is love. How can He be love? Love is a verb. Love is the understanding of a verb. It's nothing else than that. But the truth is the one that creates, the great power of the creation. How can love has no power if you don't have love? Now, if you love people and you're an engineer, you create all the jobs, you create all the best way to get food on the table. Who loves the most? The one that works in the factory and sweep a floor, or the one that comes with the great invention of making that factory work and the understanding of the great power of the wisdom of the wise? This is where it is. This great power is inside of us, and it's here. And you have to learn where it is in order to use it properly in the understanding. If you say you love God, but you don't love the truth, you don't love God. Because the truth is the understanding. Now you can go to church all your life and never learn nothing from the preacher or the priest, and then you're 60, 70 years old and you haven't learned nothing. You're just a plain human being with no knowledge inside of you. Why? Because you gave your knowledge away. You took your knowledge and give it to the priest or bring it to the rabbi or give it to... You're not supposed to go pray in the cave every Sunday morning and hope that God's law falls on you. You're supposed to come and make your mind. You're supposed to learn to think for yourself. You're supposed to learn to understand for yourself the great power. Now, the land of Egypt here is false religion, and that's why I want to use that. False religion gives you nothing in the understanding of the truth. It gives you nothing. You can go there for, all your life. At the end of your life, you die, you're just the dust of the world. Go and read some more, Rita.
And the Lord continues, "What do I see? They are terrified. They are retreating. Their warriors are defeated. They flee in haste without looking back, and there is terror on every side," declares the Lord.
You see, you got to come to understand the power of these scriptures. What God has made for a human being to understand. You see, once you read the scriptures, you got to translate everything, and you got to look back, and you got to go back and forth until you come to understand this. You don't understand the scriptures by just looking at it or read it once and then put the book away. You got to study the scriptures so you can come to understand that God is the truth, and you have to learn that in yourself before you can understand this, because the power of yourself is to understand. If you say God is love, it don't mean nothing, because God is what? God, love is what? Love is Levi. Now, love is important. I'm not saying that it's not important, but it's not the one that creates in the world. What's created is the truth. You have to use the truth. Love is Levi, the third son of Jacob. It's very important because it's also, that determines all the wars and all the differences between men and all the things so you can get along with each other. You have to bring the priest there, which is very important. But God is not just love. God is the truth first, and then what comes after the truth is what he is. Now, all the 12 sons of Jacob are part of God. Jacob, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob is part of God because they're the first one that understood that God was feelings inside the soul of a human being. And so that you worship the God of Abraham, you worship the God of Isaac, and you worship the God of Jacob. And you got to come to understand, they didn't say worship the God of Esau, even though that was the son of Isaac. They say worship the God of Jacob, because Jacob becomes Israel. Israel becomes the Bible, the great power. And if you're going to learn that from the two sons of Jacob, Ephraim and Messiah, you're going to have to come to understand that these are the power. Ephraim is the power to understand the scripture that's inside of a human being. God is the truth, and you have to come to understand the Lord your God with all your soul and all that you have inside of you, to make the understanding of God inside of you a way of life, and to love the Lord your God. If you say, well, I go to church every week because I love God, you don't love God at all. That's not the love of God. The love of God is the love of the truth. And the thing is that you spend your life learning it. And you spend your life trying to process this inside of you so you can come to understand the way God thinks and not the way man thinks. If you just listen to religion of the earth, you're only going to understand what man thinks. You're never going to understand what God thinks. So the power is to understand the truth. And you have to work on it until you understand it. Go ahead, Rita.
The swift cannot flee, nor the strong escape. In the north by the river Euphrates, they stumble and fall.
Yeah, read it a little bit more.
Who is this that rises like the Nile, like rivers of surging waters? Egypt rises like the Nile, like rivers of surging waters.
Okay, come to understand that water here is reality. And if you take a river of knowledge and you go to the book of Revelations, you understand the river of life that makes, new understanding 12 times a year and makes all the power from the book of Revelation to the understanding. So you got to come and float on the wisdom of the wise. You got to let it float inside of you like you are swimming in knowledge, and you got to give a lot of effort to keep above the water. Otherwise, you'll sink to the bottom, and you're going to come and float on it like a person that knows how to swim in the knowledge of life. You see, this is what it's all about. It's to be able to understand that the angel of reality is real. And you have to go to the angel of reality to believe in the scriptures. You can't believe in everything that's written in the scriptures. You can believe only what you make out of the scriptures. The difference in it. If you read what's in the scriptures, and you're a person of the mind, or a priest of the mind, or a person, you think all kinds of things, and that's where that thing comes from, the false prophet, that God is love, is only love. How can God be only love? That's the most dumbest thing that I ever heard. And the only thing that you can hear is God is the truth. And every single part of that truth is part of the form of intelligence, the part of the whole wisdom of intelligence. But everything is born from the truth and goes from the truth to the face of humanity, where you come to understand. Now, 6,000 years of learning, we had all the wars, we had all the catastrophe of the world, we had all kinds of different things, does not destroy the intelligence of the wise. The great power takes off and changes the world. Every time there's a disaster, it comes back to life, because the understanding of the Lord is the truth. And when you follow the truth and the knowledge of the truth, you come to understand the power of what is inside the heart of a human being that is called the truth. What is the truth? The truth is a knowledge, it's a feeling inside of a human being that tells you that it's so. And when you believe that it's so, it's because you determine the power of the truth to make it so. So the great power of a human being comes to understand that this glory of intelligence that you have inside yourself, it's to be able to think like a human being, but understand like a divine figure. Go ahead.
She says, I will rise and cover the earth. I will destroy cities and their people. Charge, O horses. Drive furiously, O charities. March on, O warriors, man of Cush and Put, who carry shields, men of Lydia who draw the bow.
Come to understand that this is not a fight it's not a fight of flesh. It's not like the fight that you say, okay, now the Battle of Waterloo, or Battle of Gettysburg, or this is not what it's all about. It's not done with cannon and sword and guns and everything else. This is a war inside each one of us. The battlefield of our beginnings inside of us. This battlefield that's inside of us is the one that makes us understand, and we have to fight this. This is a war of the spirit here. This is the war that a person cannot let another person lie in your face, and you can't do nothing about it. You have to tell them the truth. You don't have to make a big deal about it, but when somebody tells you that God is love, you have to protect the truth. This is the war. You're fighting a war inside yourself to learn the truth, and you have to fight to keep it. Because you got to understand that when you have something, you have to come and you have to fight to understand it, and then you have to fight twice as much to keep it. Otherwise, somebody will come and steal it from you by telling you a big lie, and you say, well, geez, I don't know, I'm all confused now. So that's why if you don't fight for it, you'll become confused, and then you'll fall for the stupidity of an ignorant human being that tell you something. because the truth is what makes sense inside of you. You know, yeah. Anyway, what is that is the truth? It's a feeling of knowledge that gives you the perfect way to understand something that comes from the understanding of reality. I can't explain it better than that. It's something of knowledge that comes from reality and also goes through common sense. And it makes something feel like the understanding of reality. God is the truth. And when you believe in a God that is the truth, you have to fight to keep it. Because so many people out there are worshiping false God, false religion, false understanding, and they cannot get out of it. And they're stuck into it. Okay, Rita, read some more.
But that day belongs to the Lord Almighty, a day of vengeance, for vengeance on his foes. The sword will devour it till it is satisfied, till it has quenched its thirst with blood. For the Lord Almighty will offer sacrifice in the land of the north by the river Euphrates.
Understand the vision of the Lord here. How is the Lord going to take vengeance on the false prophet and the false religion of the earth? You got to come to destroy him. They won't be around no more. People will not be able to use the understanding of something that's not real to make sense with it and try to process in the form of intelligence. You see, like the Catholic Church tell you that you got to take this piece of bread and you got to process it in the intelligence and make a lie out of yourself because you know that the process is not true. So you take this piece of bread and you said, this is the body of Christ. And then you take this piece of bread and you look at it, just a piece of bread. Now, what does that mean? That you have to process it and force it inside of you to believe that this piece of bread is more than what it is. And these people that take these false religions seriously and teach them to other people, they try to tell you that if you believe in the truth that makes sense, you have to believe in this piece of bread. And that piece of bread is not. It's the same thing with the confession. It's not real. It's something that's not real. Tell you that if I make a hand motion over you, your sins are forgiven. It's not the way it works. Why believe in something that does not make sense to the form of intelligence? Like Mary had a son without the sperm of a man. Now, who told you that would come to be? Okay, they say, well, it comes from the angel of the Lord. And it comes from this is a big lie that was spread by the notion of the ignorance of stupidity that makes people believe in superstitious. Once you believe in superstitious, you can believe in anything. You can believe anything that you can believe because superstitious has walls on it, and it covers, the lies with all the walls. And if you say, well, geez, I read that in the Bible. I read this, that's a wall. They say, well, the priest said it, that's another wall. You see, you have the four walls over the lie that covers a lie so much that the lies of the world cannot come to understand the process of the understanding of reality. And when you jumped out of reality to believe something because it's written in the scriptures, so you got to understand that this is written for the Spirit. And unless you translate it into the Spirit, it doesn't make sense. And you can't believe something that doesn't make sense. That's why the Bible was written like that, to separate the sheep from the goat. The people that read the Bible the less will have a better chance to understand at the end than the people that think that they know it all and they don't know nothing. The great time is coming for the world to come to this battlefield of our beginning, where a human being will be taught to understand the glory of intelligence, where another human being won't be able to understand nothing. Because the time is here. If you believe in superstitious all your life, how can you change and believe that that's not there no more? Only God can make you change and gave you the wisdom of the wise to overturn all the lies of religion. You know, see, all these lies were made, and they were instructed in some view, and they were made to last forever. And if you tried to get rid of them, you kind of lose your spirit because you don't know no more. And that's what's going to happen to the world when the truth comes out. Many, many people will turn away from the truth because they can't understand how to destroy something that's not true inside their soul that they believe all their life. Come on, Rita, read some more.
Go up to Gilead and get balm, O virgin daughter of Egypt. But you multiply remedies in vain. There is no healing for you. The nations will hear of your shame. Your cries will fill the earth. One warrior will stumble over another. Both will fall down together.
You got to understand the power of the people that process stupidity for intelligence. See, I told you a few weeks ago, you know, in one of the speeches I made there, that you cannot take reality and destroy it with faith. You cannot do that. Because if you do that, what you're doing, reality is the truth. And if you destroy reality by believing in the superstitions of a piece of bread, or water that baptized the child, or in marriage that united two people together because somebody is some superstition somewhere that tells you that you have to step in front of that in order to be able to have sex with a certain woman. You see, all of these things were processed inside of you, were processed since the beginning of your existence, and now they come to a point that you have to change. It's going to be mighty tough for a human being to change the process of his intelligence to conduct the glory of intelligence for the purpose of being a human being in the understanding of reality. See, reality is a process. Common sense is a process, and the truth is another process. But superstitious is a process too. And it creates, superstitions create, you know, lies and make them truth. You see, and when you take lies and you turn them into the truth, you destroy the power of yourself to understand that between lies and the truth. And what happened is you feel that you always believed in the truth all the time that the church has given you, and the next thing you know, you lose your soul, try to understand something that's not true, and the simple truth staying in front of you, and you can't understand it. That's the process. The process is not real. It's not part of reality. It's not part of the truth of a human being. When you say, okay, I form a religion with all the 7 sacraments, those are the 7 greatest lies the world has ever seen, because people made those up to form religion. And they form religion on that purpose, so they can come to destroy the human heart. And why was in those 6,000 years that people suffer so much? The wars, people lost their hand, or, you know, people had their head cut off. There was all kinds of war, all kinds of destruction, and all kinds of stuff that happened in 6,000 years of stupidity and ignorance that comes from superstitions. They figure, okay, these guys are coming and they're going to attack us and we're going to have to defend ourselves. Next thing you know, you have a whole bunch of people. You see, in the kingdom of God, it's going to be different because they're going to be the rule of reality. And when the rule of reality returns to the human race, you don't have to have a war to determine the truth. Reality will be there to show it to you. The common sense of intelligence will be there to show it to you. And the great power of that common sense with reality would give you what it takes to be a human being in the form of the intelligence that you were created with. You see, what happened, whatever you tell the dog, he won't listen to you because he doesn't have the process of this intelligence. And when you come to understand, you can lie to a dog all you want, and the dog won't do nothing about it. It's the same thing with a human being that's been processed in the superstitions of the great power of the lies of the world. You got to come and think for yourself, learn for yourself, and come to understand for yourself what is the truth in the matter of reality. Go ahead.
This is the message the Lord spoke to Jeremiah the prophet about the coming of Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, to attack Egypt. Announce this in Egypt and proclaim it in Migdol. Proclaim it also in Memphis and Tahpanhes. Take your positions and get ready, for the sword devours those around you.
Okay, you got to really come to understand you got the king of Babylon. See, all of these religions are fighting together for years. That's where all these war comes from the power that one tells the other one something that is not true and the other one don't believe it, and next thing you know you have. You see, that's how all war started. All human understanding started. And then the bloodshed comes after that. And many, many people believe and fight in something that is not real and fight for it. Try to understand, you look at the Civil War. People in the South fought for all they can, and the people of the North fought. And they both didn't have the reality inside of them to pronounce the truth. Okay, you could say the North could see the South, using slavery and beating people up. But the thing is, the North had all kinds of ideas against it. And if they take the black themselves, they just didn't process them with intelligence. You see, what happened is you take two sides of the great power and you fight them together, and then it destroys the purpose of both superstitions. Next thing you know, you have free the human spirit. And this is not all war fought. They were fought. Don't tell me that, the American were better than the German were better than the American. No matter which side you're on, that's not what a war is all about. The war is to kill evil and destroy evil on both sides in order to bring intelligence. Just like penicillin does. It kills both germs, destroys both germs. They fight each other and destroy each other. And then next thing you know, you have a victory. And the victory is not by one side or the other. The victory is because both sides were wrong in the process of the power of reality. They both step out of reality in order to come to the center of intelligence, to have this glory of intelligence that human being comes. Go ahead, Rita.
Why will your warriors be laid low? They cannot stand, for the Lord will push them down. They will stumble repeatedly. They will fall over each other. They will say, "Get up. Let us go back to our own people and our native lands, away from the sword of the oppressor."
You see, the power, who oppress who? What caused of war to become? What caused the power of humanity to fight and to put their life on the line for the purpose of what they believe? And if you look at both sides of any war, you will find the distress of the power. Now, you can say the Germans were ruthless, they were power. They went into, Russia and what I mean? But they got, these people really believed they were doing the right thing, because some man told them that if you destroy Russia, we can take the world. But they sent a big army over there and they got caught. And the same thing with every other war. Every single war that ever was founded by humanity was the lies on both sides colliding together in the stupidity of the ignorance of both sides. And you say, well, geez, we have the right side. No, you never have the right side if you have to kill a man to destroy a man so you can really tell him that he's wrong. You're never, because you're killing someone for the purpose of wrong and right, and you don't really understand the power of wrong and right to begin with. So you can kill thousands of Germans, you can kill thousands of Americans if you're a German. It's not the purpose. The purpose of it is to see yourself before the battle so you can see what you're doing. See, most people that goes to war, they said, oh, we have no choice. We have to go fight those people. They'll take over the world. But everything that happens in the process of that time is like a battle on both sides that is not by the understanding of the Lord or God. You see, we've been bombing Syria for 4 or 5 years right now. They destroyed them. And, they're still rising. Why? Because the lie that was there to begin with, they're still there. You haven't destroyed the enemy, the lies themselves. And you haven't destroyed the enemy on this side to destroy them. So the power of war never is won except for on both sides at the same time. We just stop the battle and start understanding peace on earth. Go ahead.
There they will exclaim, Pharaoh, king of Egypt, is only a loud noise. He has missed his opportunity.
Yeah, read a little bit more.
As surely as I live, declares the King, whose name is the Lord Almighty, one who will come who is like Tabor among the mountains, like Carmel by the sea. Pack your belongings for exile, you who live in Egypt, for Memphis will be laid waste and lie in ruins without inhabitant.
You see, everything that was taught by war, destruction, you know what I mean? And then you blame the people of society who commit crime. But where does this crime come from? From the lies of the past. The soldiers just become full of lies. They live in society that's full of lies. And next thing you know, you have a whole system of people that wants to destroy the other people because they think the lie is in them, but they don't see what the lies are. If you ever going to understand the power of justice, the power of fairness, the power of unity, this is what love is all about. It's to be able to understand that there's a great power inside of you from the very beginning of the creation that tells you that you can kill each other, you can destroy each other, but at the end, who is right and who is wrong? The peacemaker is right. And all the people that creates the war are both sides just as wrong as the other. Because the power that you have inside yourself to create justice is not working. Fairness is not working. You're not fair to the other side because you think that you love them and they're your brother. You see, you destroy those things first before you go to war. Because if you bring justice into war, it won't work. If you bring fairness into war, it won't work because it's not the same process of intelligence. And if you try to bring the truth into it, well, you're going to have a hard time because the form of intelligence is only made in the process of a human being trying to overthink himself into a better person, into a better thing. And he destroys his brother by doing it because he thinks he's better than them. And what happened is that creates war. If you're never going to create war in the kingdom of God, you're going to have to destroy these feelings inside of you that everybody is better than the other people. Because that's the monster of war right there. And when people think, oh, we're American, we're better than the Germans. We're American, we're better than the Syrian. We're better than the Taliban. You see, that's the power that creates war and destroys the heart of humanity. And then you have the criminal on the street, the people, the rapists, and it all comes together with a bunch of people fill themselves with the lies of the world and claim to be something that they're not. Go ahead, Rita.
Egypt is a beautiful heifer, but a gadfly is coming against her from the north. The mercenaries in her ranks are like fattened calves. They too will turn and flee together. They will not stand their ground, for the day of disaster is coming upon them, the time for them to be punished.
You see, why would God punish people? Because of the lies of the world. You see, you can never see a lie until you live in distress. You only can see a lie when you live in distress and you have nothing to live with. You destroy everything and you break every bone in your body, and then you're laying there and you say, why did I believe in that? Why did I went to war? Take a man that's been there for, get no legs. He was destroyed, his legs were destroyed, his arm was taken, and he only received life, and he's laying on the bed of suffering. And then he said, why did I go there? Why did I get myself into? Because what destroyed him, it's not the enemy, it's the lie inside of him. He was willing to do this to somebody else, so those lies that he has inside of himself destroyed the purpose of making a human being in the process of his time. Who is God? God is the truth. And if he lives outside that truth, you're going to have the process outside that truth, and you're going to have to suffer greatly because you live according to the will that a person is not really the great glory of intelligence. God is the truth, my friend. And if you're going to believe in something, you have to believe in the truth. And you have to set yourselves free by the truth. And you'll never have to go to war. You'll never have to have your head, your leg chopped off and your head killed, destroyed and everything else. You will live according to the laws of nature, to the laws of God. You will make love to a woman of your choice. You will be able to do the things in life that you need to make in the process of intelligence. But you cannot destroy, lie that's inside of you unless you are destroyed yourself first. Go ahead.
Egypt will hiss like a fleeing serpent as the enemy advances in force. They will come against her with axes, like men who cut down trees. They will chop down her forests, declares the Lord. Dense though it be, they are more numerous than locusts. They cannot be counted. The daughter of Egypt will be put to shame, handed over to the people of the north.
What does that mean, the daughter of Egypt will be put to shame now? Does that mean that one girl or the whole power of the mind of Egypt? See, the daughters of Egypt is not a woman. The daughter of Egypt is the mind, people that thinks in the process of this intelligence that they try to make in the glory of the God. God, who is that truth, has the power to bring the truth. But if you think outside that truth and you live outside the truth, and you form religion outside the truth, then what you're doing is you process the intelligence that is called lies. And these lies that lives inside of a human being now, they're not that easy to get rid of. It takes a lot. I remember learning the scriptures, and man, I was full of lies. I was full of stupid ideas that didn't make sense, that a human being learned these things from the process of his childhood, in the process going to school, process of all. And then when he comes to life to live these things, it makes no sense to fight your brother, to hurt someone, to hit something, I was taught to defend yourself. You see, these are all lies that comes inside of a human being as he grows into this world to make the purpose of the reality of everything that's good. God is the truth. And if you don't listen to that truth, you will come to live with lies. And these lies will live inside of you, and you think you're right doing it. Because the power of these lies come inside of you as a person that comes to understand a lie like the truth. And you cannot believe in lie like the truth. Because the great Satan of the world is the lies of the world. And if you come and understand the lies of the world, you cannot live with the truth inside of you. Go ahead, Rita.
I have a question about the people of the north.
Yes.
What does that mean?
People of the north are the people that sit on top of the world spiritually, not people that lives, I mean, in Alaska or, what
Yeah.
I mean? That's not people on top of the world. It's the spirit that climbs to the top of the understanding. And when you live there, you understand. When you live at the bottom of the world, you don't understand. There's tons and tons of people that live underneath the earth. It's not the real earth now. It's a spiritual term. You got to understand that the people of the north are the simple people that comes to process intelligence with the truth inside of them. That's what it is. It's not people that better than everybody else. That's not the truth. The truth is it's a spiritual term that gives you the knowledge to understand.
The Lord Almighty, the God of Israel, says, I am about to bring punishment on Ammon, god of Thebes, on Pharaoh, on Egypt, and her gods and her kings, and on those who rely on Pharaoh. I will hand them over to those who seek their lives, to Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, and his officers. Later, however, Egypt will be inhabited as in times past, declares the Lord.
You see, you got to come to understand that all the things that was done in the past, and I talk about lie like it's your enemy, but it is your enemy. But the thing is, these things had to be lived on earth for the purpose of the truth to come out. And this is what this, you live the 6,000 years of the lives of the world. Now you come to this day, the day of the Lord. And that's going to last 1,000 years. It's the same as the other 6 days. But you got to understand that the Lord will rest on this day by giving us the knowledge of his understanding. You see, nobody never really understood the Bible before that. Oh, you had 7 days, he created the world in 7 days, and then all of this. But you got to understand that this was all done in the process of time. And it was all done also in the process of spirituality. Not, if you think like a person of the flesh, you think it was 6 days. It's not 6 days, it's 6,000 years, and 1,000 years of the Lord's rest. Because you got to come to understand that the power that we are living in this world, we're living in the power of the creation of intelligence. From the time that God poured his spirit into mankind 6,000 years ago, it was not just one man, but it was a whole bunch of people. And God poured his spirit inside these people back then, male and female. And then he created the mind from it. And the mind was weaker than the spirit. So God created the power of the understanding of what is in the glory of intelligence. Yeah, you see, what it is inside of you is a human being that live in the great power of what is the northern part of us. Those that sit on top of the world, they can understand a little bit. And those that live at the bottom of the world don't understand nothing at all. Go ahead, Rita.
Do not fear, O Jacob, my servant. Do not be dismayed, O Israel. I will surely save you out of a distant place, your descendants from the land of their exile.
Okay, now Jacob. Why does Jacob here, is Israel? Because that's the Bible. The Bible is Jacob and his 12 sons. That, first you get Abraham, the first man that understood the Lord God in feelings. Then there was his son, Isaac. These are not just people. These were feelings that came. And Jacob is also a feeling that comes so you can understand the scriptures. So this is what it is. Jacob is the scriptures. Even though he died, 4,000 years ago, he's the feelings that gives you the knowledge of the scriptures. And once you believe in the 12 sons of Jacob, because you take the descendant of Jacob into the 12 sons, and the 12 sons had sons, and everyone had sons. So you have faith, and you have understanding, and you have love, and you have the speech maker, and you have the affiliation with God. God made Dan. And then you have Issachar. See, these are the sons of Jacob. And once you begin to understand, all of these things are feeling that lives in spiritual term inside of us, so we can come to understand the power of heaven. See, before now, the power of heaven was not understood because nobody could really penetrate to the teaching of the scriptures. It just, even to the highest scholar of all, they never could understand the scriptures because they did not translate them in spiritual term. So you read the Bible as people, and they confused themselves and never really understood the purpose of it. But these are feelings. And when you understand feeling, because God is a feeling, he gives you Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob as feeling. He gives you the 12 sons of Jacob as feelings. He gives you the understanding of Moses as feeling. He gives you the power to understand. And we went one step to the other, then the New Testament came, and he gives you the feelings into the New Testament to understand the power of the parable. And then we go to the understanding of all these feelings that's inside of us. And that's what heaven is. It's a feeling of knowledge that lives inside of us so we can come to understand spiritual term as the other world, the world of the spirit. You know, it's a different world. It's a different understanding. It's not the same, and it's not part of the stupidity that is preached in religion today. Believe me. Go ahead, Rita.
Now we're going to complete the chapter.
Okay.
Jacob will again have peace and security, and no one will make him afraid. Do not fear, O Jacob, my servant, for I am with you, declares the Lord. Though I completely destroy all the nations among which I scatter you, I will not completely destroy you. I will discipline you, but only with justice. I will not let you go entirely unpunished.
See, this is the scriptures. Now we come to an end of this thing here. I got about half a minute to go. And you got to come to understand that Jacob is the Bible. Jacob is the feelings of the understanding of the Bible. If you use the 12 sons of Jacob, you use faith, you use all these terms, understanding and all that, you'll come to understand the Bible, but not in the way of flesh. You cannot understand the Bible in the way of flesh. You have to go to your feeling inside of you to understand every name that's written in this book. You see, we have 600,000 feeling inside of us that takes care, the Bible is written on the purpose of it. And once you begin to understand that, you understand the knowledge that create us inside of our knowledge. You see, this book is not a book of history. It's a book of knowledge that we have inside of our soul to understand the truth and the great power of the truth, that God is the truth. But you got to understand that feelings are not like flesh. They're not the purpose of flesh. And I want to really bring that up to the understanding. God is the truth, but the truth is a feeling, and that's all there is to it. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you, the next episode. Thank God. God bless you all.